gentle men and the 0.001% women that watch, hello and welcome. We are going to go on a journey. I'm going to do a series of amplifiers here. This is RO number 70 whatever. There's a whole group of these that I need to go through. One gentleman sent all these in. He has, from what I can understand, moved now since when he sent these in. He initially wanted me to sell these all on consignment for him. After I went through, some are going to need finished, some are going to need to be rebuilt, some are going to need to just be looked at and tested. The gentleman has now since moved, and I guess where he moved to, they're not going to let him put up a tower or whatever. So we need to finish these things, test them, or just get them out the door, and he wants me to sell them on consignment for him. Oh, it's pretty. Oh, it's pretty. All right. This is a 12 pill with Toshibas in it. Old school fat boy, 12 pill. Well, we're not going to have to do a lot to this. I got one transistor that the lid has come off on it. That don't mean nothing. It's got some decent aftermarket fans on it. I bet you we can turn this into a screamer in a hurry. Yeah, upgrade some power wires and change out some tuning caps, and I think this is going to be great. I'm going to have to blow it out, of course, or vac it out, one of the two. Look at this, old school Toshibas. Oh yeah, doesn't get any better than that. There's the one that's missing the lid. Must have come off in shipping. You should have seen the Pelican case, the giant ass nice Pelican case that all these amps got shipped up here in. I was like, whoa. Talk about knowing how to pack. I mean, me personally, I was impressed. So, let the madness begin. I think where we're going to start is get the lid disconnected, and we're going to get all the styrofoam fluff vacuumed out of the inside. And then we'll get down in the nitty gritty of it. Okay, so we're all cleaned out. Obviously, I'm going to have to go in and replace this transistor down here. Obviously. And then the other obvious thing is our less than 6 inches worth of power wire out of the back. So we'll probably end up replacing these 4 strands of wire. Make them a little bit longer so we can at least plug it into something conveniently. We're going to upgrade this, and I want to change each one of these 150s out for metals, mica metals. That'll help. And I think we're going to fire it up and we're going to run it. Some of the solder work down here I want to go over again, just kind of clean it up just a little bit. But this box is really in good shape, all things considered. So let's do this real fast. Let's do this, and let's do this. Okay, well, time for a little bit of an update. So that transistor, which was here, I pulled it out. It's still good. It had a gain of 25. So it tells me the rest of these have got a gain of around in the 25. So I put a 22 in here, matched it up, and this whole thing, this obviously is, this one here has blown up before. There was some burn scorch marks on the back of the output transformers. So I went ahead, when I washed it, I went ahead and washed all that burn off, cleaned that up, flushed out the pill pocket, made sure there was nothing that would keep the transistor from sitting perfectly flat on the heatsink. It all looked good. Did some power wire upgrades. Replaced the old faithful 150s. Let's burn them up. These things pop like cotton candy sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And replaced them with metal clad capacitors. Replaced the 2 watts with 5 watts on the outputs. And rebuilt the combiners. So the only thing I got left to do now is to rerun the positive wire on this thing. And let's hook it up and give it a run. Pretty straightforward, right? I mean, just wham bam, thank you ma'am. It's going to be easy peasy. So I don't care what anybody says. Changing this out, just changing these out from this bullshit to literally 4 or 5 times the amount of metal mass, just the power wires, makes a huge difference in how the box runs. So let's replace these leads coming in here, and we'll go from there. Well, it's all hooked up and working. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's our input swirl. It's a 5-watt element in reverse between the 2950 and the amp. Hello, 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 hello. Perfect. So what we got going on here is a 1,000-watt slug. Right here, 1,000 peak, 1,000 and whatever you want to call it, bird, whatever. 5-watt slug back from the bird 10,000-watt dummy load. We're on 15.1 volts. And that's me hitting it with, hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. 25 watts worth of drive. Now what we've also got in line over here is the bench 4-pill. So now with the amplifier off, let's show you drive. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. About 600 watts going in. We don't want to push it much harder than that. If we think about it, each one of these 4-pill sections is roughly 1,000 watts of amplifier, right? 1,000, 1,000, and 1,000. So we should see 3,000 watts with roughly this much drive. 500-600 watts. That's what we should see. Turn the amp on. Let's go up here. So, brighten this up a little bit. We're going to put this down in 5x. And the way this works in 5x is now we're reading to 50, and we're adding a couple zeros, right? So 10 is 1,000, 20 is 2,000, 30 is 3,000, 40 is 4,000, and 50 is 5,000, right? So we should see roughly around 2,800 to 3,000 watts-ish. Hello, 1, 2. So we're seeing roughly 1,000 bird out of it, and we're seeing 3,000 watts peak. Hello, roughly, right? Now, as we all know, the bird is a variable number. Okay. 16 pill makes 4,000 watts. But the bird number is variable. What do I mean by variable? Well, the bird number is strictly dictated by the type of radio that you're driving into the amplifier, right? I haven't done this in a long time. I don't even know if this radio still works. I haven't hooked this radio up in a long, long time. So what I'm hooking up now over here is the derail bench Cobra 29. This is a competition radio. It's designed for doing shootouts. And it is completely maxed out for AM power input. This radio makes mad bird out of amplifiers. It's crazy. So we were barely able to get 1,000 out of it before, right? Now we're burying this in a corner, and this is still at 3,000 watts. So we'll take the 1,000 watt slug out. We're gonna reach over here. We're gonna grab this 5 kW slug. $5,000 water. Hello, 1,900 bird. Hello, audio. 1,900 bird. And all I did was change radios. So once again, back this all the way out. Let's disconnect the derail Cobra 29 comp radio, and we'll hook up the bench 2950, otherwise the Joe Schmo everybody's got one radio. Grab this microphone. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2. Seen about 200 more watts in peak, but 1,000 less in bird, like 800, 900 watts less in bird watts. So you guys draw from that what your own conclusions are. The other thing I want to show you is this. This is the 2950. 190 amps worth of current draw. We'll switch back over. We're going to hook up the derail comp radio again. Grab the mic for the derail radio. Just picked up 65 amps worth of current draw. Audio. Out of a 12 pill on normal human voltage. We're not talking like 21 volts like we're doing a shootout or nothing. This is normal human voltage, right? 15.1, 15.2. 1900 bird and 3000 watts peak. You'd probably get a little bit more out of it if you wanted to drive it a little bit harder. It's not my job. It's not why I'm here. Just here to make sure this thing's working and to demonstrate to everybody that it's working properly. Ooh, novel idea, right? I have to shoot one of these videos about, once a year and help remind people that your bird watts are solely derived with how much amplified audio or AM injection that you've got going on in your radio, right? I should do this at least once a year. If your technician has got himself some super hot dog, heavy dick, shootout radio attached to his workbench, and he says, oh man, look at this, it makes 2,000, 3,000 bird. And you get it on your end and you're like, man, it only makes like 500 bird. It all has to do with the radio. All of it has to do with the radio. I'm going to squirt some clear on this to help keep this in really pristine condition. And then I'm going to put the lid on it and we'll be back. Okay. Before I go and screw the lid down on this, I want to cover the remote plug in the back of the amplifier. This uses a 4-pin mic jack. From this video angle, it's kind of confusing. This black wire here is our constant hot. This top corner pin here is our remote on and our 12-volt source for our fans. This pin here is ground and this is absolutely abandoned. I want to cover that just so everybody understood. Now what I am going to do is I will throw in on the deal a 4-pin mic jack, so that when you get it on your end, if you want to wire up a remote to use this mobile, you sure as shit can do it. That makes sense? So like I said, top pin, this top corner is the remote hot on, the one below it is the constant hot, the one next to it is ground, and the top pin over here abandoned. All right. Well, here it is, gents. 12 pill by Fat Boy with Toshibas in it. I'm not gonna lie, the Toshiba boxes don't bring what they used to. I've got lots and lots of these transistors here for repair, right? A whole giant stack full of Toshibas that are used and a whole giant bag full of them that are new. So the availability of the parts is not an issue. Individually, the Toshibas are incredibly valuable. I will stand behind the reliability and the quality of the Toshiba transistor any day of the week over the HG. HG is what we've got though to deal with. And a lot of guys, they don't want to deal with it. They'd rather just have an HG box and know they've got cheaper components in their stuff, but they run. Just saying. Now this is a consignment deal. The gentleman that owns these boxes, there's a little bit of wiggle room in this, but we're going to start out at asking $2,500 plus the ride, or best offer. Now, if you come to me with a serious offer, no man, hey man, I'll give you $1,000 for it. No. But you come to me with a serious offer, I'll entertain it. But this box makes anywhere from 1800 bird to 3000 watts peak. Probably about 32 maxed out, right? So if you're interested, you guys all know the drill. Call me, text me, give me a shout, send up smoke signals, get satellites to sync up in space, whatever you got to do, just give me a call. We'll get her figured out. The phone number's there on the wall. Big thanks to the Patreon supporters as always. Thank you, gentlemen. Of course, they'll have access to purchase this a full 48 hours before it comes out for everybody else on YouTube to enjoy. Thanks to Penna, Siglant, XS. Oh, Penta. Get a 5% discount if you mention my name at checkout. So if you're thinking about buying tubes from Penna Labs, mention my name and you'll get a 5% discount on the way out the door. It'll help you out a little bit. I don't get any of that money. It's just, I told them that, hey, you know, let's give these guys a little bit of credit. That way we understand who's coming from what, from where, from how many jelly beans. And they said, that's great. We'll give them a 5% discount. So if you're looking for an 8877, 3500Zs, 1200 D7, all of those tubes, but check out Penna Labs, get a 5% discount with the unlock code of BBI. Gentlemen, this is it for this day. I'm going to go jump onto something else now. We've got 5 or 12 more of these to go. There's more to come. And they're all Toshiba based amplifiers. Some of them are going to need a little bit of work like this. Some are not going to need hardly any work at all. Some are going to need to be completely rebuilt. This one here was a slam dunk easy home run deal. 12 pill Toshiba. Doesn't get much better than that. Also, I've started changing the subtitles in the videos. The subtitles will now be done in Spanish. There's a large portion of the radio community that's in Spanish speaking parts of the world. I don't speak Spanish. Most of the English speaking world can just listen to the regular words that I'm using. But to my Spanish speaking friends out there, enjoy the subtitles. I know they're hilarious. They're never accurate, but it'll help you understand what I'm saying better. So on that note, I want to say, gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'm on to the next one. I'll see ya. Click, click.